What's going on, guys? It's your boy Cash. Jinx did nothing wrong. We're here with the Elder Dragon. I have to see what this thing does. Now, obviously I know what it does. What I should say is I want to see how it would work. What is the practical deck for Elder Dragon? So in this video, I hope you guys like, comment, subscribe. I'm going through every single card you can put on the Elder Dragon side. What can you actually put into the deck? And then with that, I'll see what I can come up with. People are probably already doing a lot of this, but I gotta do it for myself, right? So aspect of the dragon. You may put any followers that cost 6+ into your deck during deck building. When you play a 6 cost base cost unit, pick one of the 2 dragon boons and play on it. So the thing about this guy is that, and they're all the dragon boons, cool. Now we realize, I've heard that deathless means that the unit comes back, it dies and then comes back with 1 HP, is what I heard that happens. And I'm assuming you could cycle that if you wanted to, keep having it granted deathless. And I wonder how that interacts with Kaiser, but we're not going to go with that, right? So the way that you level up Elder Dragon is that your allies have attacked with 75 total power. So as long as they attack with it, and let's say that they get frostbited, that shouldn't matter. As long as they attacked with that number, that gets added to the total. So you're looking to attack a lot. You probably want to keep your units alive, right? You want to be able to attack multiple times. There's Cataclysm, there's Hollow, there's a lot of different things that you're probably going to want to try to implement in order to get that big attack going off. And then eventually he should come down and then he levels. And he also costs 1 less for each different dragon boon you've played this game. So pretty much 1 less for every time you've played a 6 cost unit, right? Let's go back to this real quick. When you play, I was actually curious about this too. So when you play it, so it has to be from the hand, but keep in mind that it's just the base cost. So theoretically, this also works with portals if Nora is leveled up, right? If you play a 0 cost, 6 cost unit, your Elder Dragon will benefit off of it. So I don't know if people are paying attention to that either, that technically Nora would count towards that. Plus any unit that ends up being 6 costs that's reduced by something else would actually count, but it has to be played from the hand. So we have to also keep that in mind as well. It's really difficult to get specifically a 6 cost card in the hand, 6 cost plus card in the hand, and then play it for 0. Not many units do that, right? We're gonna go 6 costs. And I want nothing but units. There we go, it's units only. So it said followers, so I technically can't, I wish I could eliminate this. I'm on Runeterra AR deck building, so I could actually click and put cards that I think are really good in there. And I think that that's what we're gonna do. If I see a card that I think is really good, we'll just put it off to the side. Make this nice and big so we can go through it. We can ignore the champions. So again, I'm looking at cards that are going to have some type of synergy with that. So something like the Ardent Tracker, I don't think you're using this. Unless you're going with some type of buff deck, right? You're using something that's going to buff it, so it's attacking. Scout's actually a good keyword. If there is a way to give other things keywords, then I would say definitely put the Scout in there, and then maybe you give this keyword to someone else. But are you running this with what, like Zoe or something, or like Kaiser? I don't know. Let's see what else you got. I actually think that this might not be that bad. Discard your hand, draw 3, deal 3. Just because of the fact that the draw aspect of it could help you out. Maybe you're going to be long cards. The draw engine, I think I'm going to have to put the Chemtech Dragon in there specifically, because I just think that makes the most sense. And we're starting with the 6 because all those other dragons are down to the 6, but we have to incorporate these other cards too. Attack, stun all damaged enemies. That might come into play. I'll put 1 Argot. I think that might come into play in some way, shape, or form. What else? No. I think Berserker Ursine is also good too, because he's not like elemental, and this one is whenever you play a spell or skill. It actually has nothing to do with elemental at all. So I do think we have to keep him in mind for a lot. And then we have the Blood Curse Harpy, which is 20 times better than this Ardent Tracker person. And this one has a decent amount of attack, has the ability to attack with a Scout, but then you need equipments in the deck in order to get that effect. I'll keep it as to mind. Maybe we do run equipments. Maybe there are equipments that are going to help us do the Lord's work. Gear up for the Doubt. Give himself Spell Shield, Overwhelm, Challenger, but I don't think so. Captain Indari I do think is nice because when I'm summoned it gives everyone +1/+1 pretty much, and if they have equipment it goes on that, and that would actually synergize with the Blood Curse Harpy that we're playing some type of weapons in our deck, so that could be an option as well. Remember, we're not looking at any, this is just, it's similar to Aatrox, right? Aatrox deck had a bunch of, it just has a bunch of equipment, and you need to follow it up with a deck. That's why you play with Kane, to give yourself a bunch of units, right? So maybe you use the Elder Dragon to put a bunch of units in your deck, and then you use the other region pretty much to either give it equipment, spells, or whatever have you. So Chief Mechanist Zevi, when you draw a card, give it fleeting and create an exact copy of it. I think that's a good card. And also, obviously, I'm not filtering by Eternal or Standard because I don't care. I just want to see whatever is the best deck. That's the deck that I'm going to make and try. I do think Chief Mechanist Zevi might be something. Maybe there's a way to do some crazy stuff with that. Cloud Drake is a must because when I'm summoned, reduce the cost of all allies in your hand by 1. All of them. It's a literally a mobilize on a body that could be multiply summoned. Possibly, maybe let's say that we're playing Ionia and we're playing some type of recall to play certain units multiple times. That is a possibility because every time I play a base cost 6 cost unit, my mana is getting reduced in cost. So that could be a thing. So let's see. Your burst and focus spells cost 1 less. This could make something. This could be something here. I don't think so, but it could be something. Not Arena. Crest Lionhawk. If an ally has a different subtype than me, manifests a Demacian spell. That could make a difference. And literally, like, I'm not playing birds, so yeah, that could be a thing. Devour the Depths is allowed in the deck. I think that's just a solid card. But he does need the like 4 defense and could be pinged on thing. Who knows what the meta is. So I think not too much. When I'm summoned, if you behold a dragon, Rally, that might be pretty good. Rally's going to be exceptionally good in this deck, right? So then we have the Flame Spitter. I like that it's a 8/4 challenger, so you can get multiple attacks out of it by picking a really good challenger. I do like that a lot. Eternal Dancers, I did say Hollowed I think would be decent because you can have a little shrimp out there, attack, and it then boom attacks, and I'm hoping that it counts, that it should, and then automatically gets a hollow buff, and then all of a sudden this 3 attack unit is instead attacking for 5, helping the number, right? And this one also revives a unit and would do that too. So I think we add in Eternal Dances. We'll lower it down later, who knows. When I'm summoned, give other allies +1/+1 this round. And it's Scout, I think that's a good include as well. Gentle Gem Dragon, when you play a fast, slower skill, grant other dragons allies. So this is if you're playing multiple dragons. If you're not playing multiple dragons, this card kind of feels ass. And I don't think that you're going to be specifically targeting dragons. Though there are some cards that will do it with the Kedrigan and stuff. I guess I'll add it in for now. But you have to play a dragon deck to get value out of that. Heart of the Fluffed. I don't think I have the heart to put this in. You'd have to do like a Poro version, which I'm not too sure. This is the way that I would get it. So Hive Herald, granted unit and me others positive keywords, right? So that could be decent if we're going with the other route. This would be evolve plus if you're, and it'd be pretty easy with this mechanic with Elder Dragon. And this could be, and I don't think we've been keeping in contact. I don't think we've been thinking about using Elder Dragon the same way people were before using Rise, right? People were using Rise as you put one in the deck and you abuse his Runeterra mechanic to allow you to play other things. So maybe you're just using Elder Dragon to make a really good Kaiser deck. Maybe you're just using Elder Dragon to make a really good dragon deck, and you're putting all the dragons into the deck, but you're actually really running Demacia. You're actually really running Targon. So I do want to keep that as a like an odd man out, because I actually wasn't thinking about that until I literally just said it out my mouth. So I think that that's a really cool option too. And we're only on 6 right now. This one, Higher Allseer. This one's a decent one. I think giving some of your big bads regen would be pretty good. Even if you only use 1 stance swap, I think it might not be that bad. But you can also run other stance swap units as well. Freyr, I think in ramping will also be a really good option. I'll put it to the side as a reminder. I don't think you're going to be using this because this is having to do with you sitting like an asshole in the back. Has nothing to do with attacking. Also, that's what I'm trying to keep in mind. I'm trying to attack a lot. That's why I think Stance Swap is good. You can boost the stats, making them hard to kill, or give it regen so it can attack or block the next turn after attacking. I like that a lot. Invosius Fox. Pretty good because a lot of dragons. And plus, if you're running the other stuff, would be pretty good. So we're gonna smack that in there. Kedrigan the Ruined, granted ally challenger +1/+1, and it's a dragon, so I think you have to keep that in mind. Lawkeeper is obviously for a different version of a deck. It's when you're boosting a bunch of cards in the hand, then you play it. Then I don't know if that's gonna synergize too much with, or we're using Bard, but I think me and my friend were talking about Bard might be a little too slow with this deck, and also you're just kind of stuck. I feel like you rather run Bandle City. If you damage the enemy nexus, it's down. Nope. And this is ultra heal your nexus 1 every time you're doing it. I just don't feel like for 6 mana, unless you're playing this guy for cheap, I think that this is just annoying. But you might actually need healing. I'm just saying, you might need healing. Priestess of the Desert Light. Now, that's interesting, right? Because you deal 4 to me, draw a champion, and grant it +2/+2. If you have 6 in your different champions in your deck, you summon it instead. So you would, I think you should mention it, right? Because it could luckily give you Elder Dragon straight on the field, right? He won't have his play effect, so you won't be able to give him all the boons, and it's not on attack, right? I'll check that later, but it's still interesting to mention, right, that you can put the Priestess of Desert Light into the deck. I think that that's definitely something you want to mention. Realm's Caretaker. Each round the first time, no. Revna, of course. Just you can't not mention Revna. Same thing with Sign, I think you gotta mention that as well. This card not that bad, right? Because I'm summoned, I grant all the enemies vulnerable. I pick the trades. I think that that's not that bad of a thing to mention. Spider. Could you run a Spider deck? Grow other attack units' power to mine this round. That could be relevant, right? Because you can run some of these other hollowed stuff with it. I'm gonna just put it off to the side. Also, in the comment section, let me know what you guys think, or are there any cards that I'm missing that you guys, oh, how did you not pick that card? Just keeping that in mind, right? Not Soul Gorger. Spectral Ironhound, I think is really good. And I probably should have been doing this for each one. I apologize, it's like 10 minutes in. But this one, to kill me, you play an ally when I'm summoned. It summons another body, so a 5 cost, 5/3 that summons an 8/4. This one doesn't count, it won't get the boon on it. But at the same time, you have 2 big units attacking. I think that this card definitely is a auto include, right? I'll try to biggie size any of the cards that I think are actually relevant to the thing. Boom, we're at the bottom. I like this card too. I don't take damage from any spells or skills. That could be useful if the meta becomes very heavy, like a removal heavy. Sorry. Damage is different, and if Mordekaiser becomes popular, you're gonna get Vengeance anyway. That's definitely a thing. And I think that's it. Lurker is pretty interesting. I wonder if there's enough Lurk in those regions. So far, let's back it out. And these are the cards that I kind of set aside. Berserker Ursine, Bloodcurse Harpy, Captain Idari, Chief Mechanist Zevi. I might just put a timestamp for each one. These are all the 6 costs that I think are pretty decent, right? So what do you guys think about the 6 costs? You could go time zone it, timestamp it of what you guys think. Like, how did you not mention this for the 6 costs? Now let's go to the 7. Let's go straight to 7, and then this 8+. That's funny. All right, so there goes Mordekaiser. He's like, yo, bro, what's up? What's going? What's cooking? Hey, Mordekaiser, maybe you're running, and what's cool with Mordekaiser, putting him in the deck, is that you can run it Noxus Elder Dragon or Shadow House Elder Dragon, either or. So let's look at the followers. Then we have this one, and your Dragon Boons target all Dragon allies. So if you're running the Dragon variant, I do think that you want to do that, because whenever you play a card, all your Dragon allies get that. And since they are considered elemental skills, which we have to kind of keep that in mind too, for a certain Dragon deck, I think that's a good thing. For each 6 cost spell, yeah, no, you're out. You're out of here. Basilisk Bloodseeker, kinda. I like the Beguiling Cobra. Remember that? So, first time you play it, summon an exact copy of it. If your board is full, grant its stats and keyword to be. I do think that that's something that you have to keep in mind, because of the fact that this cards are going to be playing really big things, and you get 2 copies of a thing that you just played. Or it's all those big stats get put onto this unit, which I think is really sick. I think that might be something to look into. When an ally transforms, double its power and health. Now, obviously, this is not just for the transform deck, right? This is when a champion levels. This is if you're gonna also put other transform stuff into the deck. Doubling power and health could really help you get to somewhere really quickly, especially if you are running some type of hand buffs. I think a soft mention is required for that. Again, for the dragon deck, Eclipse Dragon, Daybreak effect is amazing. The next dragon or celestial unit you cost 2 less still works with our dragon booting. So we definitely have to put that. Or if you have to play the Nightfall, you do get another random dragon. Dragon could be a low cost dragon, and also celestial fire, but both of those two are usually big. So depending on the board state, you might need to use one or the other. And if you have a really good dragon in hand, you definitely use the Daybreak, right? I think I like that card a lot, actually. Absolutely not. When I'm summoning, grant all other allies that have subtypes plus 1. No. No. But we could be running stuff that obviously kills and revives units. Maybe Deathless will help us out, right? I'm saying Evasive Hydrovine. What I like about Evasive Hydrovine is that it's gonna keep summoning an encroaching mist. So let's say we are running some type of Shadow Ops variant, maybe with Viego, and we're summoning this thing and it just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. Viego comes out and he's big too. Might be a little bit kill more, but I do like the fact that we have the option to put the Hydrovine in there, so I'll definitely put it in there. King Jarvan. Oh yeah, we gotta remember the boats. The boats are in the house, right? So a lot of the boats are 7-8 cost boats, so we could use that to get the thing. But what I also like is that if Jarvan's already on the field, he gets Challenger. All allies get Challenger and Scout. That could almost insta level the thing, because that's usually a lot of power if you can flood the board. I think we mentioned that slightly. I haven't even mentioned champions that I think would synergize with the character, so I do want to just slightly mention that. But my point here is to more see what cards we're using in the deck, more so than good champion combinations. I think once I put all the cards together, I think then we get a really good champion combination. I think you definitely want to mess with Ron, right? Summon 3 sigils, and a lot of the cards in our deck are probably going to be Titanic units anyway. So I definitely think you run that. When you play it, this one is no. You're definitely not Hydrovine. Sacred Protector. If you're running a bunch of berries, that makes sense, because then you get the double attack. But double attack will end the game quicker than you actually getting your Elden Dragon out. Savage Reckoner, kinda. Serene Skysinger. Now this deck can't have spells. You need spells from the other region, but let's say you are going into Ionia as your second region, reducing the cost of certain spells, but then what spells are you playing in Ionia that's going to benefit? It's like I want to put it in there because it's just a good card, but I don't know what spells in Ionia, because you have to run Ionia with it. No, actually, sorry, you absolutely don't. I just lied to you. You can run anything. You can run PNZ Eternal, run Glorious Evolution, and start going ham with that. So actually, you could run this, and then if your other region that you're pairing has good spells, especially big spells, you could actually use that. So I'm actually going to mention that. I think that's a good mention as well. This one, when allies attack, it itself doesn't have to attack. It does summon this, which is a 4 attack unit. Not bad. And remember, this one doesn't eat up your mana like it used to do. So that is a decent... I feel like you kind of want it to be attacking too. It does help out the level up, right? Because that's 10. If this guy attacks, it's 10. He adds 10 to the board. I think it's a decent thing to mention anyway. Shipwreck Quarter, the treasure stuff. I don't know if you're going to be running any type of sea monsters. I think that's a little bit weird. Grow your stats, ally stats to mine after you plunder, after you hit the nexus. Then you have a 7/7 that turns something else into a 7/7. Most of your units, I think, are going to be big bodied anyway. So I don't know how useful this would actually be. Ether Fiend, I think, is amazing. Ether Fiend play, kill an ally. Is this elemental? No. Kill an ally to kill an enemy. I feel like having some source of removal outside of just attacking, or allowing you to get a cleaner, better attack, I think is a pretty good thing in there. Here we go, King's Court. This brings Jack, if you're running Jack, if you think Jack is good. When I'm summoned, create a prize fight in hand. If an ally survives damage, give it Brash, and that might be able for you to swing lethal. I don't really think so, but it is nice to mention. Leviathan for Swain. Now I'm good. Rekindler, absolutely, but more so, it might actually be trash. Rekindler is an OG card, but it might be trash because if you're looking for Elder Dragon, he's really not. You're not gonna really get to play him, right? Like it's kind of like a joke, you being able to really play him and then have him revive the Elder Dragon. But it could be something. I think it's always the possibility. You got to think on the brighter side of things. Winding Light, pretty good. Nightfall, play 1 card, play this. Everyone gets 2+1, and Overwhelm. Definitely still a game ender depending on the board state that we're having here. Wizened Helmsman is if you're playing an elemental deck. I don't think so, but could be, maybe so. Now Zulani is actually very interesting. You could actually play Zulani in this deck. And as you guys know, I have +2/+2 for each ally that died with power increase, and you could definitely run the deck that way. A bunch of mini-mans running around dying, and then all of a sudden you come up with Zulani the Aspect, and then when you attack, you transform every attacking unit to Onar Darken followers into exact copies of me. She's usually has a ton of attack, but usually that ends the game, and that's kind of my biggest issue with Elder Dragon. I feel like you're gonna end the game before that thing happens. So how are you combating against this onslaught of big attacking units? And I do think Zulani makes sense if you're running like a little mini minion thing. Then she kind of comes out on a turn 7, if not earlier, based on some other cards. Obviously, we'll go through, and she just kind of starts pumping up, and that could be a really huge swing. And then I don't know. I haven't seen many things survive the Zulani swing. So yeah, maybe people are gonna run stuns. Maybe that is the way. Is the stun and like hush, stuff like that. Get these things out of here. So that's all the 7 costs. So hopefully, I don't know. You think I missed anything? Am I bugging with some of these, like the Big Game Tycoon? Am I bugging with King Jarvan? I do think, like I said, I think you can definitely have Jarvan on 6, King Jarvan on 7, Challenger or Scout. Boom, wham bam, thank you ma'am, as Decade would say. I think that there's some good, not too many in the 7 cost, but now we're gonna go into the 8 plus. There you go. So yeah, play. So you have to play the Elder Dragon to get Elder Dragon moves. It's not an attack thing, so that's a good thing to note as well. Boulder of the Black and Ice, I think you kind of want to mention it because when I'm summoning, he summons 2 Thralls. Now the Thralls don't count for getting the Dragon boons, but playing this man and then getting 2 8/8s additionally, which is 24 attack on the board, is just insane. I think you have to mention that. Captain Farron, I guess, it's a good card you can put in, but it doesn't really help this thing. I think Chemtrade Dragon is an include, right? When you play a spell, draw 1. When you draw while your hand is full, deal 1 to that enemy nexus. I don't care about this part, but the first part is really crucial. I think having a small little draw engine, maybe later in the game, depending on the other region that you put in, I think that's going to help you out a lot. Just me personally. Because a lot of these dragon deck or follower-based decks, they don't have a draw, like a way to draw. And I think he might help you out. This is like the lowest confidence I have in a card, really. Des Ada, nope. Grandfather Ramul helps you trade a little bit better, but I don't know if I feel like you want stuff with stronger effects than Grandfather Ramul. Herald of the Celestial, ally, activate all other Daybreak and Nightveil effects, and then depending on what you played it as, it gets Spell Shield and all that stuff. Not a fan. Evasive Tactician, rally is just good. You just have to mention that in general. Just the ability to rally. Just seems like a good thing. Lord Eldred, Mage Seeker, Leader. Other allies and your nexus is tough. When something survives, it gets +1/+1. I think that's relevant in some way, shape, or form. I think that's a relevant thing. When I'm summoned or discarded, create a what is this? Is this no, it's a 4-drop. Mahira, Aspect of the Ascendant. She's the one you play. Curse 2 enemies with shackles twice. This really fills up their hand and screws them up. But as far as our place, what we're trying to do, I don't feel like it's too cool. I don't think it's really gonna help out too much. Mirror Mage, when you play a created follower, make an exact copy, or when you play a created spell, it makes the exact copy. I do think that there's a place in here for this, just because of the fact that maybe there might be a created spell that you're playing that duplicates it. If you could cheese the Mirror Mage out, and again, like I said, you have to also keep in mind of just using this to make another really strong deck. I think that the Mirror Mage might find some love in that version of it. Potentially, right? Potentially. Also, like me putting all these rally cards together and possibly putting it in a region that has no business doing that. Like maybe I'm putting all the rally cards together and then running a minion-based deck with one Elder Dragon that might not see the light of day, you know? That's a possibility. So, Nagakaboros. Now, you could try to run a Tentacle. And but there's not too many other tentacle stuff that's gonna be in here. But all the other tentacle stuff is in Bilgewater, right? So I feel like maybe, but I wouldn't add it in there. When I'm summon 2 of the Necro Nestlings. Now, if you're running the Dragon variant, absolutely. Protective Broodfather, draw a unit. If it's a dragon, summon it attacking. That's just obviously if you can put the Dragon Clan together, this card just got so much value because they keep adding dragons into the universe of this game, so it allows you to make this card better. I remember before your goal was to make multiple copies of this specific dragon. But at the very least, you can get another dragon attacking, and it also could be Elder Dragon is considered a dragon. So just saying, you could theoretically use this to have Elder Dragon cheese out and come out a little bit, which he's just a 10 attack unit at the same time. He's no different than kind of like Aurelian Soul, right? But still pretty hard to get around 10 attack that comes out of nowhere. Raza the Thunder, decent card, killed 2 units if something else died this round. I think you'll probably see this in Mordekaiser decks. I don't think we're going to be using it though. Definitely Sephersa. Ugh. When you spend mana to play another unit, create a random card in your hand. A card. So if this is a unit, right? This card will super help you out, right? If it comes out to be a unit, you play a 7-cost card, 6-cost card, and then it gives you back a unit, not a spell, then you're gonna get some more value off those dragon boons, right? So definitely putting that in there. This is a solid card. It always has been. Sea monster allies have fearsome, attack -2, so anything else with fearsome doesn't do the Lord's work. I like that. Clock hand. Are we running landmarks? Nothing that I saw so far had anything to do with landmarks. The Infinite Mind Splitter, though it is a dragon, and it's cool, I think it might be too slow, but I'll just add it because it's a dragon. Recall the strongest enemy if you spend 16 plus mana this round. Recall all allies. So, all enemies, sorry. Recall all allies. Dude, this card sucks. I do want to mention, though, we really haven't thought about set, right? And the coin mechanic, right? The coin mechanic also might work with the Mirror Mage as well, but I really wasn't thinking about actually running it, not really running the old timer, but running coins to cheese out and play multiple 6-cost units back to back, right? So maybe coins have a place, and then maybe Jack actually has a place too, because that's the other variant of it as well. Tusk Raider could be insane, obviously. Sejuani, Freljord, plunder somehow, double the power of health and allies in the deck. Then yes, a 1-drop is still blocking your unit, but it also has like 20 something attack. So I definitely want to mention this one as well. And Sejuani's deck usually has ways to trigger plunder, right? So the Diva, get out of my face. When I'm Summon Rally, yes. Tiana Crown Guard, definitely got to put that in there. Has to be an honorable mention at the very least. Uzgar, Wiggly Burbleflish. I cost 1 less for each spell you play this game when I'm summoning, creating a random 1-cost spell from your region. Multiply playing this, duplicating this by playing another region like B and Z, you would actually really cheese out the... Oh god, I forgot this card existed, dude. Dude, this was a really good one. And I think I could have swore... did I miss the other card? I think he was a 6-drop too. As you play 1-cost unit, as you play spells, it gets reduced. All those cards, actually, now that I think about it, should be mentioned because they'll be played for cheaper, but since their original cost is 6 or higher, would actually cost. I feel like I might have missed a couple of those. Maybe I could have swore. The one I'm thinking about is the 6-cost one in P and Z that should have been in there, or maybe they made it a 5-cost or something like that. But I could have swore it was like 6-cost. But Wiggly Burgerfish is really, really good, especially if you have something that recalls it back to the hand. Or play it. Maybe Ari becomes the thing. You're recalling reduced cost units. That'd be pretty interesting. Wrath of the Freljord, Frostbite enemies with 3+. I mean, it's a good card, but I don't know if you're using it this one. And then, hey, look, once again, we come back into the equipment having some type of relevancy. Wrought Colossus. First time equipped, create a 4-cost copy of me in hand. I wonder if this counts as when it says a 4-cost copy of me. Does that still count, or is it like locked original cost? Its base cost becomes 4, or I think this wouldn't technically work because I think it has to say and reduce it to 4. I've learned this from playing so much Janna that certain cards, if it says it's reduced to 0, is different than saying that it's a 4-cost copy. So that I put it as an honorable mention, but I really don't think it works like that. I don't think that works with the Dragon Boons. Commander Ledros, probably not. Karina, probably not. Goralith. Solid unit, to be fair, and if it's boosted up in the hand in some way, shape, or form, could help you come back into the game. I think it's an honorable mention at best. And of course, I should just 1, 2, 3. He shows Shell of the World. I think you definitely just have to play this. It just allows you to do a lot. If you can cheese it out some way, shape, or form, especially it being in Ionia, you have the Green Glade unit that is I think it's an Eternal, but you have the Green Glade unit, which is phenomenal for this entire deck that you can attack. and then it's going to reduce the highest cost unit. I think follower specifically in the deck. Sorry, not in the deck. Whew, that'd be crazy. But in the hand. So I do think that that's a really crazy honorable mention as well. Catcher gain you definitely have to add in, especially if you're playing the dragon deck. +4/+4 when this thing gets summoned on all your dragons. Dragon be with you. All right, the dragons are here to stay. Minas Swiftfoot, a really solid unit. I think that there's been a lot of times where this card has come out and recalling 3 units is almost like killing 3 units. You recall 3 units and then they can usually just play 1 back depending on the cost of that unit. I think it's honorable mention. Has quick attack, 7 attack, pretty strong, right? Portia, I do think that with all the other units that they added in, all the other Titanic units that are also in my filter right now, like if I were to just scroll through this real quick and just look at some of these units that I put in here that are Titanic, I keep scrolling and missing all of them, right? I haven't shown a Titanic unit yet, right? It's funny enough, but a couple of them are Titanic, right? And I think to be able to, and remember, it goes to your hand, you manifest it, goes into your hand, it's a 1/1 and it costs 0, and it will trigger the Dragon Boon. So I do think you really put that in the deck. I think it's a really good one. Oh yeah, let me biggie size in case you guys can't read. And then the Dragon Fisher, I think this is definitely another auto include. When I'm summoned, draw 1 of each of your champions from your deck. Each round, the first time you summon a champion, summon, not play, rally. So I definitely think that that's should be in there. And I'm just giving you guys, like I said, really good options. Void Abomination. Now, with all the nonsense that is in this deck, all these crazy keywords, I do think it's a pretty good one because I do think Evolve would likely be activated. And then whenever they see a new keyword, it would do that. I think it's an honorable mention at best. Warden of the Tribes, probably for the same thing, even though it's not keywords, it is different subtypes, which you can really run a lot of different amount of them. Drop the Warden of the Tribes, go for a game. I think it is a good one. Otacon, Bringer of Ruin, I think it's an honorable mention as well, right? Because you play, revive the strongest dead ally, attack, gain all everyone's power, so it pretty much doubles the attack that you just attack with, right? And if he's out there, and possibly if you also have Elder Dragon, maybe you just push up to 75 magically, and then, as they said, Elder Dragon cannot be stopped. So this might be the way to actually do it, especially maybe if you can cheese out a thing. Oh, the Plaza Guardian is 10 cost. Okay. And I feel like I'm missing a certain card. I don't have a Eternal filter on, right? No, I don't have any of that on. There's definitely a where's the Matreon? Probably not gonna have too many of that. Citria, Lady of the Clouds, of course. When I'm summoned, double other allies' powers and health, grant them Challenger. Yes, ma'am. Plaza Guardian is the other one, right? Reduce this card by playing a bunch of spells depending on the deck, and then this card is gonna be. I did not know that they boosted him to 10. Jesus Lord, but it's an honorable mention at best. Same thing with the Scuttle Guys. If we're killing a bunch of stuff, might be an honorable mention at best. She Who Wonders, probably not. And Sandstorm Chimera for how many times you're attacking, maybe? I don't know how many random attacks you're going to be getting off. Honorable mention at best. But there's no way that I missed this card. I know it's like an 8 cost card. Special, okay, it was right next to that. I skipped over it. Pick an ally in hand, summon an ephemeral copper. Yeah, this is definitely in there. So maybe there might have been more cards that I missed, right? Like Dreadway, did I skip over Dreadway as well? Double all damage. That really doesn't help, to be fair. But hopefully that it didn't, me not clicking Eternal, made me miss on card. Yeah, because I don't think I saw this one either. Bright Steel Formation, I definitely didn't see. Wait, did that only show me standard? Why did it do that? I didn't have standard equipped. Yeah, now Arbiter of the Peak is here. Oh my god. So I guess we did a standard version. I guess we did standard for some reason. I didn't have anything equipped. You guys seen this here the entire time. We definitely saw this there the entire time, and I didn't have that equipped, so it just defaults to standard for some stupid reason. Oh, that's gross. Because when you click Eternal, it includes everything, right? So I'm not a big fan of that. So hopefully those are the standard cards. I guess we can just go by that, right? Everything that's legal and standard. So I guess that's important for you guys. And then I'll have to pick out. I don't know how to pick it out because you can't. It's hard to pick specifically only Eternal cards unless you have them memorized, right? Like, that's why I kind of hate it. Like most of the time when I want to make an Eternal deck, I don't know the difference between the two. Well, check this out. This is pretty cool. So when you press continue, and then you X out of it because you're like, oh, that's not what I really wanted, and you X out of it, it erases the deck that you made. So it erased the entire thing while I was trying to just get the Eternal cards like on a separate thing. I was gonna try to save it, so I lost everything I just did. So, well, it's in video. Hopefully you guys are getting, if you want to look back at the end of the video or whatever. I'm gonna find all the Eternal cards and just put them here, and then we can talk about the Eternal cards. So I think I found all the 6-cost Eternal cards. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure I found it. And I also wanted the ones that are kind of relevant. Captain Erika, pretty good because it captures a unit or landmark. That's pretty good. Sifter the Bold, allowing you to boost up your attack, give everyone fierce, and making it harder for them to block it. Curious Shellfolk, because it's Curious Shellfolk, could give you a really good card. And if you're running a deck that benefits that in some way, shape, or form, I do think that that's kind of nuts that you could run this in an Elder Dragon deck. Jay Schmurda, I just added, well, he exists, right? Get out of here. Scar Mother, maybe if you're running some type of damage deck, or you're using another region like Freljord to sweep up a bunch of stuff, maybe you're doing that. Probably not going to be that good. Yone, I do think Stun 2 is just it's just good. Zephyr Sage, probably the best one of them, because create an exact copy of a card in the hand, and that could be a card that's reduced in some way, shape, or form, and you're able to play 2 of them, really helping you accelerate. So Ione is looking like a pretty good region to kind of pair with this stuff because of the coins and everything else that we talked about. So let me find all the 7s. For the 7s, it didn't seem like they were too crazy. I think Rod's Bloodmane, which I think is decent. Smooth Soloist seems like the best one because you can reduce the cost of allies in the hand and the deck by 2, but you already need to have her reduced in some way, shape, or form, and you need to hit Plunder, and then you can get the value out of it. So seems a little bit rough to do, but maybe there's a way to do it. They Who Endure, I don't think synergizes with the deck at all. And then Thrumming Swarm, I don't think this card will ever be relevant unless you have a way to completely, it's like a cheese deck, like some really long-winded combo to get it to work. I don't think it's gonna work here. And then last but not least, I think it's Spectromation, Xenia, Blade Dance, just get out of my face. Brightsteel Formation, possibly really good because of the barrier, allowing your units to attack, and then you can help with the level up without having to risk too much. And I like Arbiter of the Peak as one of the other ones that gets reduced, because maybe you do run a deck which is pretty much either temporary boosting the deck a lot, or you're doing stuff like trading, like you're using a bunch of combat spells. So every time you target your own ally to do a strike spell, then that could be a thing. Maybe you're going to run Morgana with the Targon mix or something like that, or you could actually still run Morgana with Demacia as the other one. And one thing that I did want to show, but it messed up, is that this thing actually shows you when you do this. I'm sorry, this is here, but when you do this, which is kind of nuts, is that it actually shows the breakdown here, which I think is pretty cool. And most of the cards from the standard list that I had were mostly Demacia, and even here, a bunch of the cards that I hear are Demacia. So my thing with that would say is that maybe you still run a Demacia deck, and then maybe you can run like elites inside of it as well, or maybe you go completely away from Demacia and you're still able to run that stuff, the other Demacian stuff. It's kind of up to you, but like the majority of the cards that I picked were mostly Demacia. I really wish that I had kept that before, but I paused the video to do that. So we got landmarks, ladies and gentlemen. We have the Crimson Banquet. I think really good if we're gonna go head into Noxus, right? If you want to run a Nox variant, allies cost 1 less when you play an ally, deal 2 to it. And a lot of these units could probably take the damage, honestly, and it will make them cost 1 less, letting you get them out a little bit cheaper. And I think that that's an honorable mention, honestly. I do like this as well. Again, another Noxus one. When an ally with 5+ power create another one in hand, that could be a thing. That's some Noxus support. Voidgate would be interesting, but I don't think too crazy. I don't really know if you're gonna run the Void Gate. Another Noxus one, Trifarian Training Pits. For each round, the first time an ally with +5 power attacks, rally. I think that could help you level him up pretty quickly. Could be very overbearing, like you could win the game before he actually levels, which is, hey, I think that's part of what you're looking to do as well. Maybe he's just a ice cream with the topping on the cake. You might not be looking for him to just put it in the game. And of course, we got to mention the granddaddy of them all, Targon's Peak. Reduce the cost of a random card in all players' hand to 0. You're playing a bunch of big units. They might not be. They get a 1 cost reduced. You get a 12 cost. I'm just saying that's pretty much amazing, right? That's like definitely in your Valiant tricks. I think that they should make sure that this doesn't work. I'm just being completely honest with you guys. If you're able to, actually, you will never be able to play him from Howling Abyss, right? Because he create a card in hand, random level 2 champion that's not in your hand, deck, or play. So you could never play. You could get it randomly, but even if you get it randomly, let's say you're playing Howling Abyss and hoping to hit Elder Dragon. Well, I cost 1 less for Dragon Boons and blah blah blah, right? So Elder Dragon, the first level 1 has that effect, but if you were to happen to get him as a level 2, this is all he has. So you theoretically can't play him. You don't have 12 unit mana to actually play him. So if you actually got him, you'd just be screwed unless you had another way to reduce his cost in hand. Maybe creative followers or something like that, or you have another way. But just based on the Howling Abyss deck, he's actually a brick. So I love that. I think that's why they made him 12 cost as well. Or just so you can't easily get him from Howling Abyss and just win the game. Go through some spells. See what some spells that might be in. I'm not gonna mention the ramp cards. I think that it's pretty obvious that the ramp is gonna be good if you're gonna go into Freljord and you want to ramp up. I do think that that's a really good option. I also think I mentioned that the coin mechanic might be a really good way to get multiple cards out just by playing a big unit, coining all your stuff back. I do think that that might be another good way, especially if you have some of the other units like the ones that's based off spells and you run a very defensive deck with Ionia, and then you could do that as well. I think that that's an option. Gotta mention Mobilize, of course, reduce the cost of allies in the hand by 1 with your spell mana. So if let's say you're saving it up, I think you only have to wait 1 turn, right? If you have majority units in the deck, you wait 1 turn, and then the next turn on turn 2 you mobilize, and then you might have a really vicious hand depending on some of the other cards that we mentioned already. I think Cosmic Call is another really good one, specifically because it invokes a Celestial that costs 7 or more. Cute, but you can also pay 8 to reduce the cost of Celestials everywhere by half. Now, before it gave you a Celestial card in the hand as well, but it pretty much would ramp up the deck by a lot because you could run an Invoke deck with Elder Dragon, and I do think that that should be mentioned as well. Transposition, for a similar reason, you recall an ally, the next ally you play this round with equal cost or less costs 0. Recall a big ally, play it again for 0, it still counts and gets a Dragon Boon. Just saying, pretty good. Also, just wanted to once again mention this about the whole portal thing. I'm looking at this card, the Portal Palooza, right? Just saying, like, create a 0 cost fleeting card when the board is full, right? And portals could help the early game of the deck. I do think that that's something that really needs to be looked at, because I do think that Nora and her portal shenanigans are going to legitimately be a viable option for the Elder Dragon. I forgot this card existed. For the top 9 cards in your deck, draw each dragon, reduce their cost to 0 this round, and shuffle the rest into your deck. With the ability to stack all the dragons into the deck and then still go into Targon, right? And then play all this stuff, some of the stuff that I was mentioning so far, this card actually becomes bonkers, right? There's a high chance that you're not only drawing 6 cost dragons, you're playing them for 0. Problem is that the earliest that you could play this is turn 9, unless you take my advice and put the Sky Singer in there, or Serene Singer, whatever the hell her name is, and you put that card in the deck, and then all of a sudden you could play this for 6 mana, especially if you cheese her out some way, shape, or form. So this could be a crazy combo if you're gonna run some of these other big units, big cost spell cards in the deck. Could be an option. And like I said, Targon is not that bad because you could still run the Celestial Invoke stuff that I was just mentioning earlier. Like I mentioned before, we got Cataclysm, really good, and we had the Rally. So I just wanted to mention that separately. I think there's that one card in Noxus that has the Midnight Raider. I think that's also like a free attack. And then you could also, maybe you're running Vayne. Maybe you're not trying to go for a really big board, but instead you're going with attacking with a big unit multiple times, forcing them to block into it, but also leveling up the Elder Dragon at the same time. Again, you probably might win before that happens, but hey, it's a good thing to, boom, Golden Ages. Demacia has all of these lovely, lovely rally spells, so you got to keep that in mind as you're going through. Boom, another one, Champion Strength. Amazing, +4/+4, and everyone gets to attack. Gotta keep that in mind, absolutely. Now, funny enough, Feel the Rush might be a little weird because you're playing 12 mana to cheese him out, right? Because you would get him out on the field and then whatever other champion you have. But he's already a 10/10, so it's kind of like eh. And I feel a lot of times he's already gonna be less than like 10 mana, right? So I feel like if you're playing the deck in that manner, especially to ramp. I don't think that you need Field Rush. I guess it's good if you don't have him in the hand already, but I think that this is kind of whack. War Mother's Call, me and my friend were debating back and forth whether or not this card would be good. Summon the top ally from your deck now in each round start. It could summon the Elder Dragon, it could summon something else, but decent card. I do think, I don't know, I feel like Field Rush would be somewhat better because you get the other champion, whatever you're pairing him with, and you also get that as a 10/10, could help out a lot. Clash of the Giants, all the boons are elemental skills, so we have to keep that in mind. So Clash of the Giants should relatively be cheap. Plus, like I said, if you're running the Sky Singer, all these cards become super easy to use, and you're in Freljord, and now you have a way cheaper Buried in Ice, way cheaper Field of Rush, way cheaper War Mother's Call, way cheaper Clash of Giants. So I think you can actually get it for free, actually, 0 cost Clash of Giants with the Sky Singer. So I do think that that might be that's definitely one of the tickets. I think those are the 2 ones so far that I really think is going to be Nora, or just, you know, Bandle City Portals, and then Freljord I think is another option as well. I just want to know, how long do you guys think it's going to take for this card to get nerfed? I just want to know. Burst speed, Deathless, and if Deathless is what I heard it is, which they revive with 1 HP, yeah, nah, there's no way. There's no way. Absolutely no way this stays burst speed. Probably Focus, not Burst. Gotta mention Glorious Evolution, just because it will make your cards cheaper, make them augment so they grow attack like crazy, and on top of that, like, like I said, you can run the Sky Singer, so you can play a little bit earlier. Obviously, this is an Eternal card, but still pretty, I think, an honorable mention at best. It's pretty nuts. Same thing with Give It Your All. Give It All. I always hate that it said that. Whatever is your strongest attack unit, all your allies become your strongest attack unit, and whatever the defense is, and they get all the same keywords. I do think that this is another good way to end the game, if not just to throw your opponent for a loop, because they see one thing on the field with like 10 attack or 8 attack, and then they all have 8 attack. You're multiplying 8 by whatever amount of allies that they have. Open attack, boom, that's 24 something damage or 32 damage that gets added on to the total, and you do the same attack next turn, boom, he's leveled. So, you know, like that's basically how I look at it. Pretty good. Everything else is mostly just ping if you're trying to keep alive, like through ping. Maybe that's what you're trying to do, but Runeterra spells, I'm sorry, there are none. All right, go straight to Shadow Owls, and I'm almost done. I like the Harrowing. I sort of like the Mistwraith stuff. Looking at the spells here, I think Eradication's stocks are gonna go up like by a lot. But there's nothing to put something in the hand, so it's mostly, a lot of stuff is resummoning. It's like summoning cheese. That doesn't necessarily help Elder Dragon unless you're just going for the attack thing. But like by summoning stuff, or like I said, Hollow, there's definitely that. But I feel like as far as like helping the level up, there's really nothing there. You could definitely make a strong board with all the revive mechanics in Shadow Owls, but that's about it. There's Castigate. It's in Shurima. I forgot about that. It's a Shuriman card, Castigate. Yeah, nothing too crazy here, based off what I'm seeing. Most of the stuff, again, it may be revive cheesing, pretty much. Like you bring a unit back, but it's summoned, so it doesn't get the boons, it doesn't get any of that stuff. Nothing that I see that's like, oh, this is gonna really help cheese out the level up or cheese out the boons and stuff like that. And that's really it. Like, I'm not gonna go by units, individual units that are really good. I feel like that's like, because you're already putting what you want in the deck through his thing, and then individual units that might do well are, I feel like, few far in between as far as like getting him out. I think the one unit that I saw that I did like this guy, when I'm summoned, heal your Nexus 2, gain an extra mana gem next round. I think that that's phenomenal. If you guys want, well, actually, I'm gonna probably do it anyway eventually, as the days go on, because we have a whole week basically. I'm gonna probably do eventually just straight out decks, like decks. I think I just want to make sure I see what Deathless does. I think we have an assumption of what it does, and then I'm gonna make full out decks, a couple regions of decks. Is there anything that you guys think that I'm missing? Any cards that you guys think that I'm missing? But hopefully this is long. I don't know how I'm gonna edit this, but it's a very long video. But hopefully this helps you guys and gives you guys more of an idea of what you guys can see from Eternal, from Standard, a couple spells that might make you want to lean into that deck. I think, like I said, the units inside of each region, I think, is probably self-explanatory once you got the other two things down. Like if I say Freljord and you're going with like a more rampy thing, or you're going with the elemental skills, I feel like you already know what kind of deck you're trying to make until you actually make the deck, which is a little bit harder to do and it will take even more time to make individual decks. But this video is morally to show you guys what's gonna be in this deck regardless of the other region that you're putting together. And then some of the options were if you were trying to pull towards something specific. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. May the Elder Dragon be with you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.